I asked you to send me your biggest digital product questions, and wow, you gave me some really good ones. So let's dive in and answer them all. Tips for more sales that's more than just SEO. Add something unique to your product, whether that's the design, extra features, bonus pages, or anything that makes your listing more valuable than the others already out there. Make sure your product photos look amazing because visuals sell. And price your product based on the value you're offering, not too high, not too low, just enough to make customers feel like they're getting a really good deal. Also, don't rely only on Etsy traffic. Start marketing your products on Pinterest. And on top of all that, one thing that makes a huge difference is knowing what people actually want before you even start designing. And a tool that helps me so much with this is PROFITTREE. Let me give you an example. For the longest time, I genuinely believed resume templates weren't a good product to sell on Etsy. I mean, anyone can make a resume, right? And Canva has a bunch of resume templates already, so I never bothered considering it as a product idea. I just assumed it wasn't worth my time. But when I was doing research for a past video using PROFITTREE, I was shocked at what I found. There are resume templates on Etsy making 6 figures. Yes, resume templates. When I typed resume into PROFITTREE, I couldn't believe the results. Look at all these products hitting 6 figures in total revenue. For example, this top resume listing made $225,000. The one right below it, $181,000. Both in just 4 years of being listed. Tell me, have you ever made that much money from one product in 4 years? Because I haven't. That's insane. And here's the thing. If I didn't have access to this tool, I never would have known. I would have gone on with my life assuming resume templates were a waste of time, and it would have completely missed this massive opportunity. That's why product research is so important. It helps you stop guessing and start creating based on actual demand. So if you want to take advantage of this, PROFITTREE currently has a lifetime offer for just $67. You pay once and you get access forever. No monthly subscriptions like other platforms. I'll leave the link down below so you can check it out. Not a question, but can you please give some encouraging words to start digital products again? I feel like I'm stuck to do it all over again and not sure if it's still worth the try. Thanks. By the way, I'm a silent follower of yours since then. Love from the Philippines. First of all, thank you so much and hello to you there in the Philippines. But let me ask you something. What's actually stopping you? Is it fear, overthinking, not knowing where to begin, or just being scared you won't get the results you want? Because here's the truth nobody likes to hear. Most people don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they never even give themselves a real chance. They quit in their head before they ever start. So my question is, how badly do you want this? Because if you want it badly enough, you will not let a slow month, a failed product, or a dry spell stop you. You will try again and again and again until something finally hits. Because it will hit, but only if you're still in the game when it does. And the great thing about selling digital products is that you're not risking money. The majority of your capital is time and effort. And yes, those are valuable, but compared to physical businesses where you have inventory and upfront costs, this is one of the lowest risk things you can try. So here's the line I want you to sit with. Would future you regret never trying? Like if you were 90 years old looking back, would you feel that tiny pang of, I should have just gone for it? If the answer is yes, then that's your sign. If we create a template and sell on Etsy, how much time it takes to make first sale? This is such a good question, and there's no exact answer to it. I wish there was, but we're not fortune tellers who can predict when that first sale is gonna come in. I've had viewers tell me they've made their first sale within a few days, some in a few weeks, and others a few months. So it really varies for everyone. What I do notice though is a lot of people message me saying, I posted 1 or 2 products and I still haven't made a sale. What am I doing wrong? You have to remember, you're competing with shops that already have hundreds, even thousands of listings. So if you've only got 1 or 2 products, it's totally normal not to see results right away. So my biggest advice is don't stop at 1 or 2 products. Keep going, keep creating, because it's really a numbers game. The more listings you have, the higher your chances of landing that first sale. Hello, I'm really inspired by you and was wondering if you offer mentorships, please. First of all, thank you so much for this message. I actually get this question a lot. As much as I'd love to do mentorships, I don't offer them right now. Honestly, it's just because I know it would take a lot of time and energy to do it properly, and I just don't have the capacity to give it the attention it deserves. So instead, I try to share everything I know for free through my YouTube videos. If you really take the time to go through them and listen to all the tips I share, I swear you already have everything you need to start this business, because that's exactly how I learned too. But if you want a little shortcut, I do have the Vault, which is my library of over 1,000 digital products that I personally created and that you can resell. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check it out. I have a question regarding the Vault. I bought the Vault and I finished editing one of the templates. Is there any advice or a game plan on what to do after you have listed it to increase chances on sales? First of all, thank you so much for buying the Vault. You have no idea how happy it makes me every time someone tells me they got it. Now, about what to do, great job on customizing it, by the way. My biggest piece of advice is to use the templates inside the Vault as your starting point, not your final product. Don't just list one version and stop there. Customize it, add your own spin, and create multiple variations. When you're just starting out, your main goal is volume. It really is a numbers game in the beginning. Aim to get to 100 listings first. That's when you can actually start seeing patterns in what sells, what doesn't, and what direction you should take. While you're at it, start sprinkling in a bit of marketing. Pinterest is amazing for this. So for now, your priority is simple. Upload as many products as you can using the Vault as your base. Do a bit of Pinterest marketing on the side. That should help increase sales. Hi, Pa, I'm a new follower. Just saw your YouTube videos. Do beginner or new shop can still thrive in Etsy today? Absolutely, 100% yes. New shops can still thrive on Etsy today. If you go on my Instagram, I even have a whole highlights folder where I share wins from my viewers. People message me saying they've made their first sale, their first 5 sales. One even told me they've already hit, I think, 150 sales, and they only started this year. So there are definitely beginners out there doing really, really well. And if you check Reddit threads for Etsy sellers, you'll see tons of people sharing their success stories too. So the idea that Etsy is dead or beginners don't stand a chance anymore, I think it's just not true. Yes, the market is more saturated, but that doesn't mean there's no room for you. Think about content creation. There are millions of creators now, but new people still blow up every single day. It's the same thing with Etsy. Crowded doesn't mean impossible. As long as you have a good strategy and you're offering something valuable, you can absolutely carve out your own space and thrive. How many products should I have at least to begin my Etsy journey? Lots of love, Yale. You're my favorite. You're also my favorite. Now, to answer your question, you can literally start your Etsy journey with one product. You don't need a full catalog before you hit publish. Just start. Get the ball rolling. But if we're talking about how many products you should have before you can realistically expect some results, I'd say aim for around 20 listings to start. It just makes your shop look more established and less empty, because having only 1 or 2 listings can look a little sketchy to buyers. From there, your bigger goal should be to work your way up to 100 listings. And if you reach around the 100 product mark and you still haven't made a sale, then that's when you can start evaluating what might be going wrong. But in the beginning, start with 1, aim for 20, and keep building toward 100. The more listings you have, the better your chances of getting seen and making that first sale. How long did it take before you started getting consecutive or consistent sales on Etsy? This is a question I honestly get a little hesitant to answer, because whenever I share my timeline, people tend to use it as their standard, and it's really not a fair comparison. You see, when I started my shop back in January of 2022, I got sales pretty quickly. In my first few months, my sales were already consistent. But, and this is super important, 2022 was a very different landscape. There were way fewer sellers back then compared to now. I do think that played a part in how fast my shop grew. That's why I don't like giving a time-based answer, because your timeline might look completely different, and that's okay. Instead, I prefer giving a listing-based benchmark because it's way more realistic today. Once you work your way up to around 100 listings, that's usually when you'll start seeing more consistent traffic and more consistent sales. And if you're at that 100 listing mark and things still aren't moving, that's when it might be time to reassess your niche, maybe your designs, your SEO, or your overall strategy. So yeah, everyone's timeline is different, but consistency usually comes with volume, not the calendar. How do you shift from treating your Etsy shop as a side hustle to a proper business? This is such a good question, and honestly, I think the shift from side hustle to proper business really comes down to one thing. your revenue. When your Etsy shop is bringing in enough money that it can actually support parts of your life, like paying some bills, covering your lifestyle, maybe even letting you save a little, that's usually when things start to feel more serious. Because once you're earning a meaningful amount, you naturally start thinking about things like taxes, bookkeeping, registering your business, whether to set up a corporation, how to pay yourself properly. Those are all real business things that only become relevant once the income is consistent enough. For a lot of people, a good benchmark is when your Etsy income starts matching or even surpassing your day job income. That's usually the point where people start treating it as more than just a side hustle and begin setting up the official business side of things. But if your shop is only making a little bit each month, don't stress. You don't need to complicate things right away. It can stay as a side hustle until the numbers make sense for you to level it up. So yeah, let your revenue be your guide. The money will tell you when it's time to treat it like a real business. How much time before I earn enough money to quit my current job? This is another one of those questions where there's really no exact answer because enough money looks different for everyone. It depends on your lifestyle. Some people are single, some are married, some have kids, mortgages, bigger responsibilities. So the number is going to be different for every person. But a good general benchmark I always tell people is this. If your Etsy income is consistently matching or even surpassing your 9-to-5 income, that's when you can start seriously thinking about quitting. Because at that point, you already know your shop can cover the bills you're currently paying. Could this be trusted as a long-term income source, or are there risks in the future? I can only speak from my own experience, but yes, it can be a long-term income source. It's been my main source of income for 3 years now, and it's been very stable for me. But like any online businesses, there are always going to be risks. We're all using platforms we don't own, so we're naturally at the mercy of Etsy and whatever updates or changes they decide to make in the future. I can't predict that, and I can't promise there will never be challenges. What I can say is this: if you're willing to put in the work, keep updating your products, and stay flexible with the trends, digital products can be a really solid income stream. It's not set it and forget it, but it's definitely something you can build into a solid business. How to create a good portfolio on Creative Market. Etsy isn't available in my country. When I first applied to Creative Market, I actually got declined because I only submitted my Etsy shop, and they don't really consider that as an official portfolio. They want to see a proper website. So I made a simple site on Wix where I displayed my best work. Super easy to use, very beginner friendly. You can even create a website on Canva now, which might be even easier if you're already using Canva for your designs. Once I had my website up with my portfolio, I applied again and I got approved on the second try. So my advice is create a website, showcase your strongest designs, and use that as your portfolio. That's what Creative Market is really looking for. How to make SEO product titles for Etsy that are still easily readable for customers. I know Etsy recently announced that they want sellers to shorten their titles, and you might even see that recommendation on your dashboard. I've looked into this a lot, watched videos, read discussions, and a few YouTubers actually reached out to Etsy directly. For me personally, I haven't changed my titles at all. I'm literally still using the same titles I used 3 years ago. And honestly, my sales actually went up from September onwards. So I'm kind of 50-50 with Etsy's new recommendations. I've also seen some sellers on Reddit say that after they changed their titles, their traffic dipped, probably because Etsy had to re-index their entire listing. So that's something to keep in mind. My advice, if a listing is already a top performer, don't touch it. It's already indexed properly and you don't want to reset that. But if something isn't selling well anyway, that's where you can experiment with Etsy's shorter title recommendation. As for making SEO titles that are still readable, I add commas so it doesn't become a giant block of keywords. Make sure your main keywords are there, then add 2 or 3 supporting keywords that describe your product. You know, customers are smart. Most people don't even read the whole title. They understand your product just by looking at your photos. So don't overthink it. Have you ever sold physical products via Etsy before, and what's that process like? No, I actually haven't sold physical products on Etsy before, so I can't really speak from experience on that. I did try selling physical products through Amazon. I used to do Amazon FBA, and I actually have a video about that if you want to learn more about how that worked for me. But Etsy is definitely still a great place to sell physical products. I know a lot of sellers who do really well there, especially with handmade or personalized items. Fun fact, I'm a big Etsy customer customer myself. I bought so many things from there, from wedding stuff to personalized gifts. So while I haven't sold physical products on Etsy, I can totally vouch for how strong the marketplace is for that kind of business. I am a beginner, can't sell digital products on Etsy, so what do you think of Gumroad or Payhip? I think both Gumroad and Payhip are great platforms for selling digital products. I haven't personally used Gumroad, but I have tried Payhip. I even built a website on it, and I can tell you it is super beginner friendly and easy to navigate. What I love about Payhip is that it just has more features overall. You can sell not only digital products, but also courses, coaching, memberships, and even physical products if you want to. Plus, they have built-in marketing tools like email marketing and coupons, which I think is great. So yeah, both are good, but if I had to choose, I'd lean more toward Payhip, especially if you want to eventually expand beyond just digital products. I heard that Etsy is charging fee to set up shop, so how much approximately do I need to pay? Also, ChatGPT gave me a link for 40 free listings, so is it trustable? Just so you know, I haven't started my shop yet because I am literally so confused about the payments and all. Yes, Etsy now charges a one-time shop setup fee when you open a new shop. The cost varies by country, typically around $15 to $29, and you'll see exactly how much during your setup. As for the 40 free listings link, I'm not sure what that is, so I can't really speak on it. I'm not sure which part of the payments you're confused about because I think it's really straightforward. You just connect your own bank account, make sure it's under your own name, fill in your tax information, and Etsy handles the rest. They'll automatically deposit your earnings based on the payout schedule you choose. My advice is to just start the setup and follow the prompts step by step. You'll see it's a lot simpler than it looks. And once it's done, you don't really have to touch it again. Etsy just pays you automatically when you make sales. With Affinity Free, can we use it to create templates? Have you used it yet? I actually haven't used Affinity yet, so I can't speak from personal experience, but from what I know, yes, you can use it to create digital products. Canva actually acquired Affinity. I just can't give a full review or walkthrough since I haven't tried it myself. If I ever do, I'll definitely share my thoughts with you guys. What is the best products and programs to use on Android phone to make digital products? I currently only have access to my phone and would love to start my Etsy shop eventually, adding print-on-demand products too. Thank you for all your help. And the other question is, do I need an iPad or a MacBook to get started? Selling digital products has been on the back of my mind for 4 months now. Scared to start, but would love to know what I would need to kick things off. I'm combining these two questions. So first, when it comes to Android, there isn't really a best program that works only for Android. Most of the popular design tools work on both Android and Apple. Canva is the main one I'd recommend, and it works perfectly fine regardless of the brand. And to answer the second question, no, you do not need an iPad or a MacBook to get started. The brand doesn't really matter. But, and this is a big but, trying to create digital products entirely on your phone is going to be really hard. Not impossible, but definitely harder. The screen is small. It's tough to move elements around precisely. You constantly have to switch between tools. And even for me, someone who's been designing for years, I barely use Canva on my phone because it's just not as smooth. And when you're a beginner, designing is already challenging. You don't want to make it more frustrating by using a device that makes everything twice as difficult. So if you can, I really recommend using a computer, borrow one from a friend, use a shared computer, or go to a computer shop. It'll make the whole process so much easier. Could you please make a video on what types of digital planner we can sell? I'll try to make a full video about this in the future, but here's what I can tell you based on what I've been seeing on PROFITTREE and from my own research. Right now, the planners that are selling the most aren't actually Canva planners, even though those still do well. The big demand right now is in planners made for platforms like Notion, GoodNotes, etc. These are the ones I keep seeing pop up over and over again when I check top selling shops. So if you're planning to sell planners, I think a really good strategy would be to explore those platforms. I'm not super familiar with creating planners for all of them, so I can't do a tutorial yet, but that's where the market is leaning. Another tip is don't focus only on the super obvious planners everyone is already making. Try going super niche like ADHD-friendly planners, homeschool curriculum planners, meal planning for specific diets, student planner for a very specific program. Niche planners stand out way more and they're often way less crowded. Do you have a podcast or are you thinking of doing one? Because your voice is so calming. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is really, really sweet. As for a podcast, not right now. I just don't think I have the capacity to juggle a podcast on top of YouTube. And honestly, my content relies a lot on visual explanations, showing templates, showing designs, walking through steps. So it wouldn't translate super well into an audio-only format. But let me know in the comments if you think a podcast version would work. How did you come to develop your video editing style? Okay, this one isn't really related to digital products, but I get this question a lot in my comments, so I wanted to include it. For me, I just knew from the very beginning that I didn't want my videos to feel too formal. I talk a lot about creativity and design, and so I wanted my videos to actually look and feel creative. A little playful, a little scrapbooky, with fun elements that match the vibe of what I teach. If you go back to my very first videos, I edited everything myself, and almost all the elements I used were from Canva. So if you want to create something similar, Canva is literally your best friend. I do outsource my editing now. I have 2 amazing editors who work their magic, so if you feel like my videos look a lot more polished now, that's them, not me. Which is why I can't really do a full tutorial on my current editing style because I'm not the one doing all of it anymore. But overall, my editing style is really just meant to be fun, playful, and creative, and Canva played a huge role in helping me shape that look from the very beginning. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in their questions. I actually enjoyed answering these. It felt like we were just chatting. If you want me to do more Q&A videos like this, let me know in the comments because I'd be happy to do another round. And before you go, just a quick reminder, if you want to do proper product research and actually see what's selling on Etsy, definitely check out PROFITTREE. They still have that lifetime deal for $67, no monthly fees, and it's honestly such a game changer. I'll leave the link down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It really, really helps my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!